Okay, before I start this video, warning. There will be use of a lot of explicit language in this video to show how I feel and how upset how upset and disappointed this game made me. Okay, so without further ado, that was your warning. Hey guys, The King Games 98 here. And I never, ever thought or imagined I would be making this type of video, but here we are. So, I will never, ever be buying a Gran Turismo game again after what I experienced with Gran Turismo 7. Let me explain. Okay, so as you guys saw, probably a month or so now, I've recently bought a PlayStation 5 Slim. A coworker at work gifted me some PS5 games. Super nice, super generous of him to do. He did not do that. I didn't even ask him to do that, for the record. He just wanted to. He did. And I sincerely appreciated and thanked him for that, because that was just amazing. Like, who does that, you know? So in the 6 games, one of them was Gran Turismo 7. I was very excited and looking forward to playing that game, and I never did. I never did get to play it. You wanna know why? Because it had to fucking download and install so many freaking things onto my console that I just gave up. I gave up. Now, on the back of the game's case, it says it requires 110 gigabytes minimum. Minimum. Now, that's a lot of storage for one game, but, you know, most Xbox Series X, PlayStation 5 games these days do take up and require a lot of storage. Keep in mind, guys, I am of the mindset where I grew up with a Game Boy Advance SP and a GameCube, so I'm used to just popping that cartridge or disc in and letting it boot up and play instantly. You know, maybe installing save data onto a memory card, you know, but it just usually boots up and plays immediately. That's the generation of games I grew up with, so that's what I'm used to. So this is still taking me a little bit to get used to, I guess you could say. And, you know, I looked at that number at the back of this case, and I was like, wow, that's a pretty big number. But, you know, most games these days are that big. I am aware of that. What I wasn't prepared or aware of was how much more it was going to install and download onto my console. Now, hear me out. The PS5 Slim, I'm just using that version of the console because that's the one I got, is advertised with a 1 terabyte hard drive. When I hooked that thing up to my living room TV, it said in the it said in the console's storage that it was only 840 point something gigs. So it really says 1 terabyte on the box, but then when you hook the console up, you don't really get 1 terabyte. You get 840 something gigabytes of storage, which I know to some people may seem like a lot, but it's really not. It's really not a lot. So when I see on the back of this game's case that it says 110 gigabytes, and then when the game installs onto the console, it then launches, I guess, or goes to download the most recent update file for the game, which, okay, I understand that. However, on the PS5, it doesn't tell you how big the update file is in gigabytes, you know, size-wise. And I'm starting to install this update file, and I see it go from 40 minutes to 50 minutes to an hour and 30 to 2 hours and 11 minutes long to install. And I'm just like, what? How big is this update file? Are you serious right now? So I canceled it. I was like, no, that's bullshit. That's ridiculous. Then I go to start the game. Okay, I go to start the game, and it takes me to this music hall screen where it lets me play one of 3 different music selections from, I think, either current or past Gran Turismo games. Kind of cool. But then in the top right hand corner, there's a downloading screen. What does it need to download? I'm so confused by that, and I'm like, I just want to play the damn game. Like, oh my god, is it that fucking hard to just want to pop the game in, let it install, and just play? Now, I understand that this is an internet required PS5 game. I understand that. And for what reason it needs to have the internet at all times is beyond me. But it's like, for it to have that many downloads for one singular game, and I still couldn't even boot it up and play it? That's crazy. That's just crazy. That's ridiculous to me. And I'm never, and even though I didn't even buy this, I was gifted this, but the last technical Gran Turismo game I ever bought was Sport on the PlayStation 4, and that is going to be the last Gran Turismo game I ever buy. Now, granted, Gran Turismo Sport, that full game and file size was pretty big too, and it had some pretty big update files too, I will say. However, that game will at least boot up and play. You can play that without having to install updates and install this and download that. None of that shit. No. It'll just boot up and freaking play the game. I think that might have also been an internet required game too. But at least it would boot it up and play. I'm just wow. I was so shocked and dumbfounded by this, guys. I had to make a video about it. And, you know, for the record, some of you may agree with me, some of you may disagree with me. That's perfectly fine. You know, again, like I stated at the beginning, I am from the Game Boy Advance SP GameCube era where I was just used to popping that cartridge in or inserting that game disc in, and it would boot right up and play. It's really a shame that in 2025, video games are just not like that anymore, you know? For God's sakes, with the Switch 2, certain games aren't even on the full cartridge. Like, what the fuck is that about? Alright, well, thanks for watching, guys. That's been my TED Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what you guys think below. Maybe I'm crazy for thinking that, or not.